Perfect. Um, Hi guys. It's I presume it's 5 o'clock your time. It's 9 o'clock back here in Ireland. So um, we'll get started. Um, what I have up here on screen is just a very quick PowerPoint presentation to give you an overview of life at IT Carlow and what it might be like to study there should you make the decision to apply and actually come and study in Carlow. Um, when I put together the slide deck, I try and put it in a way that I'm trying to get inside the mind of the student and think about the types of questions and queries that you might have. So having this session today, it gives you an opportunity to maybe ask me some questions that maybe I won't cover in the overall presentation. Um, what I say to everybody when I meet with them is there's no such thing as a stupid question. So feel free to ask any questions or queries as we go along. Okay, so my name is Owen O'Brien. I work in the International Office at Institute of Technology, Carlow. I've been working with KOM for the last year and a half, and we've developed a good partnership in that time, and they've sent a lot of students to us. So I'm very happy to be here and have this opportunity to speak with you guys. Um, when I'm putting together a presentation like this, I try and think about um, the benefits of study abroad. So, um, sorry, I'm just having some issues with my PowerPoints. All right, okay, we'll try a different way. So I'm going to go to a plan B here because the PowerPoints aren't loading up on the slides here. So first thing I always start with is why you should consider study abroad, okay? So what I might try and do here is share my screen so you can see my slides. Possible. So Adam, can you see that? Okay. So um, I'm not quite sure how well they're coming up, but so basically what I try and encourage students to think about is the opportunity to study abroad affords you. So making a decision to go abroad, whether it's Australia, whether it's the UK, whether it's Scotland, whether it's Ireland, it marks you out as somebody different in the marketplace. Okay. Um, the reason that this happens is that the majority of people don't have this experience. Going abroad tells an employer a lot about you in terms of your motivation, in terms of your ability to think independently, and it also adds to your soft skill um, competencies. So these are really strong things that kind of help differentiate you in the marketplace. Um, Coming abroad as well, it also means that you're coming outside your comfort zone, and you're developing a set of skills and developing an experience that you won't typically get in a classroom setting. So you're going to come into another country, experience another culture, and that again is something that adds to your capacity as a person. Um, the opportunity that we have with Colleges Ontario, and I'm going to make a presumption that all of the students listed here today are from Ontario, but it does apply outside of that province as well, is that you will have an initial qualification from Ontario, from your respective colleges. So if you have a diploma or an advanced diploma and you use IT Carlow to top up your degree, it enhances the value of your qualification because you're upskilling. We're giving complete credit transfer, and you're demonstrating to an employer that you have a level of skills, knowledge, and competency in the requisite area. The other thing that study abroad helps you to do is it helps you to learn more about yourself. Because if you decide to take the opportunity to come and study in IT Carlow, you will have to leave home, you will be leaving friends, you will have to make new friends, you'll have to find somewhere to live, you'll have to kind of learn to stand on your own 2 feet. And in the process of doing that, you're going to learn an awful lot about yourself. Study abroad will also give you an opportunity to experience another culture, um, and a huge part of what we try and do in IT, Carlo, and it's very much part in kind of built into our DNA, is we want to expand your worldview. So we want to create global citizens. And in order to do that, we want to create multicultural classrooms. So at the moment, we have 83 different nationalities represented on site. Um, 15 at the moment are from Canada. So being able to be in a classroom with people from different cultures, different backgrounds, it enhances your worldview. Um, if you come to IT Carlow, we're quite strategically located in the southeast of Ireland, and it gives you an opportunity to travel around Ireland. But not only that, Ireland itself is on the periphery of Europe. London is an hour's flight away. Paris is an hour's flight away. Amsterdam is an hour's flight away. A lot of the main European capitals are kind of a 2 or 3 hour flight away on top of that. So what that means is if you have the budget and if you want to kind of use the opportunity, studying in Ireland will give you an opportunity to go to other countries and experience other cultures. So a lot of the students who are studying with us at the moment have taken up opportunities where they've had a bit of downtime to um, to go and visit other countries and visit other cities. Okay, so um, that's just a bit of a very quick overview of the benefit of study abroad. What I have here is a map of Europe, okay? And you can see there on the left-hand side, you'll see Ireland. So if we kept going left, if we kept swimming out into the Atlantic Ocean, the next country we'd come to would be Canada. So we're actually outside of the USA, we're your closest English-speaking neighbor. Um, Most students that come to us, they will fly into Dublin Airport, okay? And Carlow is located an hour south of Dublin. Now, there's a huge benefit to that, in that if you included in your fees is airport pickup, okay? So once you let us know what time your flight is at, um, if you let us know what time your flight is at, guys, sorry, I'm just getting some messages from Katja and Adrian. You're saying that you can't see the slides. I'm going to get a database tomorrow from KOM, and I'll forward these slides out to you guys tomorrow. If okay, so if you can maybe just concentrate on my voice, um, I'll maybe Adam can figure out a way that I can make it work. But for some reason the slides aren't showing. Hit stop on the pub. Okay. Okay. So can you see that now, guys? Okay. All right. Okay. You're going to have to work off the sound of my voice, guys, because unfortunately, um, I can see the PowerPoints, you guys can't. So what we'll do is I'll forward them on to you guys tomorrow, and you can have a look at them. But basically, um, Carlow is about a 1 hour drive south of Dublin. So the benefit of that is because we're not in the main urban area, the cost of living can be up to 50% cheaper than what you currently experience in some of the urban areas. So Ireland as a destination in comparison to the UK, in comparison to the USA, in comparison to Australia, it's quite a good destination to consider from a value perspective. But even within Ireland, Carlow itself is a very good destination in terms of value. Okay, um, so There is, so a little bit about the Institute. Okay, we were set up in 1970. We have our foundations in providing technical training to to uh, to technicians and people like that. But over time, our role has evolved to the stage where we now offer um, diplomas, degrees, masters, and even up to PhD level. We have programs. Okay, we are a university level institute. Okay, often when I meet with students abroad, they get confused by the word Institute of Technology. Okay, it's just a quirk of the way that the institutions were set up. But essentially, we offer the exact same qualifications as the institutes, as the universities within Ireland. And the other thing to bear in mind about IT Carlow is we're government funded, okay? Why is that important? It just means we're a very safe and stable environment. And we also have to meet very stringent external quality standards. So that means you're assured of a very safe environment, and it also means that you're getting access to a very good education, okay? We currently have three campuses in Ireland, okay? Our main campus is located in Carlow. We also have a small campus down in Wexford, and we have a campus in Wicklow. The vast majority of our international students are located in our Carlow campus. We do have some students from Canada studying in our Wexford campus. They're doing a visual communications degree down there. But for those of you who are online listening to this webinar, the vast majority of you will end up studying in the Carlow campus. Um, at the moment, we have 48,000 graduates. Why is that important? This is your network, okay? These are your alumni. These are the people who are working in companies. And having the IT Carlow badge associated with your qualification means that you can tap into this network of people, okay? Just recently, in the past year, the college has appointed an alumni officer, and we hope to make strides now in terms of um, strengthening our communications with our alumni. So you are now, if you decide to come to IT Carlow, you'll be part of this tribe of people, all people who share something in common, that you have a qualification from IT Carlow. At the moment, we have 7,000 students, okay? We're the fastest growing institute in the Republic of Ireland. We plan to grow to 9,000 students by 2020. We currently have around 600 staff across administration and um, um, academic staff. Okay, we currently have 84 programs across undergraduate and postgraduate, so the offering is quite broad. And the great thing for Canadian students is those of you who are doing diplomas or advanced diplomas, it just means that for those of you who might be interested in applying, we are able to offer advanced entry for nearly the majority of programs that are offered in the colleges in Canada. We currently have 10% of our student population is made up of international students, okay? So I'm just getting a couple of questions here. Julian, you asked a question about the employment rate. Um, as of now, our employment rate is 92%, okay? That is well above the national average for Irish students, okay? Tasha is asking me, are the degrees internationally recognized? Tasha, I'll come to that in a few minutes. But in a word, yes, they are internationally recognized. And I'll explain in a couple of slides why they are internationally recognized. So, so why is Institute of Technology, Carlow, potentially a good opportunity for you guys? Um, well, the biggest selling point that we have at the moment is that as Canadian citizens, you don't require visas to come to Ireland. So that makes the process of applying and coming to Ireland much easier than it is for the majority of our international students who have to go through a visa process. So it makes it very straightforward. The other huge selling point that we have when it comes to the Canadian market is that we can offer you guys complete credit transfer for what you're studying in your home institutions. So that means within 1 year, the majority of people can get a bachelor degree or an honours degree. For those of you who have diplomas, it'll take you 2 years to get an honours degree. Okay, so unlike the institutions in the universities and colleges Ontario, where they're not able to do, not able to get, I suppose they're not offering full credit transfer. The agreement we have with Colleges Ontario and IOTI is that we will allow students to get full credit transfer and complete a degree in a much shorter space of time. Okay, so that's a huge selling point that we have. The other thing, and I just alluded to it a couple of minutes ago, is that we have a huge choice of courses for Canadian students to consider. Okay, so everything from science, business, engineering, um, and humanities. Okay, the vast majority of international Canadian students who are studying with us are availing of OSAP funding. Okay, so we will assist you in the international office with filling in the forms for OSAP funding. For those of you who aren't entitled to OSAP funding, we are also Canadian Revenue Agency approved, so you will get some tax back on your fees. Okay, so for those parents who may be joining the webinar, you will get some money back on it if you aren't entitled to OSAP funding. The agreement we have in place with Colleges Ontario also means that we're discounting our fees by over 15% for all Canadian students. So our tuition fee for Canadian students is €7,500, which roughly equates to about 10,500 Canadian dollars. So if you compare that to the fees that you would pay for Australia, for the UK, for Scotland, you'll find again that we're at the lower end of the spectrum and we make it much more affordable. Okay, if you get a level 8 honours degree, and I'll explain what the level is in a minute, you will be entitled to stay back in Ireland for 1 year if you want to seek employment. Okay, that's something that the Irish government allow international students to do. For those of you who might be considering a master's course who already hold a degree, the government recently signed off on an agreement that would allow you to stay in Ireland for up to 2 years. So if you have an opportunity maybe to get some work experience under your belt after you graduate from IT Carlow, you will have the opportunity maybe to stay in Ireland to find work and hopefully get some work experience. If you come to Ireland, you are entitled to work part-time up to 20 hours per week, okay, when you're in college. And you will also be allowed to work 40 hours per week when you are not in college. So now that comes with a bit of a health warning in that Carlow itself is a relatively small town. The total population is about 20 to 25,000 people. So the work opportunities can be slim, okay? Not impossible, but you're not guaranteed that you will definitely get work. But you are legally entitled to work 20 hours per week during term, 40 hours when you're not in college. And you are also entitled to a minimum wage, which is just over, it's anywhere between 11 and 12 Canadian dollars. Okay. And the point that some people have been asking me already on the webinar, at the moment, based on our last graduating class, we have a 92% employment rate for graduates 5 months after graduation. Okay. So that makes us one of the highest graduate employment rates in the country. Sheila Conway is asking me a question about her son would like to know how it is easy for students to get jobs when they are in school there. I think I just covered that, Sheila. It does, it's not impossible, but you know, it is quite competitive out there when it comes to employment. But hopefully you'll get over the line. You'll find something that suits you. Julian has a question. I'm not quite sure what the first part of it means, Julian. You might clarify. The architecture degree that you referred to, how, if you've done an advanced diploma, Julian, you will be able to go into year 4 of our architectural technology degree. Okay, so 1 year to get your honours degree in architectural technology. Okay, we need to see your transcripts and your GPA would have to be above 2.4, but subject to that, you would be entitled to get into the last year of our degree program. Okay, so what I have next, in terms of looking at it, in and this refers back to people asking about internationally recognized qualifications. A number of years ago, the Irish government signed up to this thing called the Bologna process within the European Union. And one of the aims of the Bologna process is that we standardize qualifications and make them internationally portable. So, in order to do that, the government set about making it very easy to compare qualifications from country to country. And as a consequence of that, we developed the National Framework for Qualifications. There are 10 levels within the framework of qualifications. Level 1 is equivalent to kindergarten, level 10 is equivalent to a PhD. Okay. IT Carlow offers programs from level 6, which is diploma, level 7, which is a bachelor degree, which is equivalent to an advanced diploma. We also offer level 8, which are honours degree, and then we offer level 9, which is masters and postgraduate diplomas, and entry into level 10. So within reason, it is possible to go from having a diploma to a PhD within IT Carlow. Okay. And because of the way we have it set up on the National Framework of Qualifications, because our qualifications sit onto that framework, it means that most employers internationally will recognize our qualifications. Okay. Okay, so Julian has a couple of other questions there. So, Julian, it'll take you 9 months to complete your program, okay? And there's no work term built into the architectural technology program. There is work placement built into 90% of our programs, but it depends on the point of entry that you're coming into the program, whether you'll actually end up getting work experience or not. Okay. If you guys are going directly into the final year of a degree, a lot of you might end up missing out on the work term. Okay. So for you, Julian, if you've done an architectural degree program, and I'm not sure what institute you're from, you might drop a message there. But for example, Humber and Durham College, we've now signed off on pathways from their advanced diploma in architectural technology. So you get full credit transfer. You're going into year 4 of our honours degree, which is the final year. So within 9 months, you'll have your honours degree in architectural technology. Okay. So, okay. So the length of programs that we have, the breadth of programs that we have programs across business, accounting, electronic engineering, software development, computer gaming, early childhood education, humanities, aircraft systems, aero engineering. So again, when I share the slides with you tomorrow, you'll see the breadth of courses that we currently offer. And for those of you who are on the webinar who are currently studying diplomas, within 1 year of study, you can get what's known as a bachelor degree, okay, a level 7 degree, or within 2 years, you can get what's known as an honours degree, okay? So your commitment to study in Carlow will be a minimum of 1 year and a maximum of 2 years. If anybody on this webinar has done an advanced diploma, typically we are letting you enter into year 4 of the honours degree, okay? Now, this is subject to us verifying your transcripts on a case-by-case basis, okay? The reason we have to do that is we have to verify the subjects that you've studied on your existing program to make sure that they match closely to our degree program. And the second thing we have to do is we have to manage our student numbers, okay? In IT Carlow, we have very small class sizes, so we are restricted for some programs in terms of how many students we can actually let into those programs. So my advice is, if you intend to apply, make your application, make it early, and if you really want to come, pay your deposit, okay? So for those of you who are on the webinar, and particularly for anybody who maybe is on from Fanshawe, who already holds a degree, we have a suite of postgraduate courses that we allow students from Canada to go into. We will also give every single student a €1,000 scholarship dependent on their academic grades from their bachelor degree. So typically we're looking for anywhere over 60%. in their undergraduate qualification in order to qualify for this scholarship. Okay. Um, the structure of the school year is that we start in September. So the first week in September is generally the start date for our course. Um, we generally start the year with an induction week. So you get to see the facilities, you get to meet the staff, and we also organize events days away. Okay. So you'll go from September to December. Generally, the middle of December, you'll finish your Christmas exams if you have them. So you'll have 3 or 4 weeks off in December. You come back early January, you study till the end of April, and you'll generally sit your exams in May. So an academic year runs to 9 months. Okay. Um, you can defer entry, okay? So if you intend to maybe build up some cash for next year, a couple of students did it last year and now they're actually accepting their place this year. So it is possible to defer entry into the program, okay? And I just want to reiterate another point that we do include in our fees airport collection. Now, it's incumbent on you to let us know when you arrive, what time your flight arrives at, and all of that information. But once you let us know those details, we'll have somebody there to meet you at the airport. You won't have to worry about finding transport down. You won't have to worry about getting the bus. We'll bring you directly to your accommodation. Um, the other thing maybe to bring up now is the whole area of accommodation, okay? IT Carlow doesn't have any on-campus accommodation. All of our students stay off campus. So the majority of our students live in either the privately owned student residence beside the college, they live in houses and apartments beside the college, are some students who opt for living with an Irish family. Okay, so you've quite a broad range of accommodation options that you can avail of. Okay, um, if you go onto the IT Carlow website and if you go into the study section, within under student services, you'll find an accommodation section. And within that, you'll find a range of links showcasing the various options for looking for accommodation. I'll also share my own personal contact details at the end. So if you have any particular concerns about accommodation, feel free to touch base with me directly and I'll endeavor to assist you with any specific queries. Accommodation, you're looking at anywhere between 50 and 100 euros a week for accommodation, okay? Um, it depends really on what you're looking for, but that is typically what our students are paying at the moment, okay? The differential in price can be anything down to whether you want an ensuite, whether you're prepared to share rooms, stuff like that. That will impact on the price. When you arrive in Carlow, we will arrange with you to meet with our local police officer. You have to register for what's known as a GNIB card, Garda National Immigration Bureau card, okay? Um, this is a one-off cost of 300 euros, okay? And I'm being upfront and honest with you telling you about this now. Irregardless of where you study in Ireland, you're going to have to pay this cost, okay? It is, as I mentioned earlier on, you don't require visas to come into Ireland, but you do have to register with the Irish Police Force, okay? We'll arrange that for you. We'll set up the meeting for you, and typically our liaison comes on site and you get to meet with them there or you meet in the local police station. Okay, so IT Carlow itself, in terms of what we have for students, I'm just going to go back into some of the questions before I go on to the next part of the. So, okay, so Tasha McCormick, you're asking, is that for Christmas holidays as well? Um, I'm not sure about the context of the question, Tasha. Um, maybe you might just clarify what you mean by is that for Christmas holidays. Um, the scholarship, Katja asked the question, apologies if I'm pronounced your name incorrectly. When is the scholarship given? Once we see our transcripts, Katja, we'll be able to make a determination then whether we give you a scholarship. So we will take €1,000 off the price if your GPA is strong, and that'll bring your fees down to 9,750, which is around €11,000. One thing actually I must remember for anybody who's on the webinar who's studying architectural technology or who's studying civil engineering or construction management, IT Carlow for this coming academic year is offering an additional scholarship of 25% for Canadian students on our fees. So if you decide to come for architectural technology, civil engineering or construction management, you'll pay fees of 5750, which is about 7,000 Canadian dollars for the coming academic year. Okay. Um, if your course extends beyond that, we'll honor that price point for the duration of your studies. Okay, so that's a pretty significant saving for people online. Um, so Julian has another question around uh, residents. So again, in terms of expense, it's all relative, Julian, in terms of what you think is expensive and what isn't expensive. But IT Carlow, it's it's possible to live in IT Carlow for up to 50% less than what you're paying for in the cities. As as a as a broad metric, you're looking at about 7,000 Canadian dollars to cover your cost of living, your food, accommodation, transportation, all of that. It is ultimately dependent on how you live your life when you come to Carlow. Um, but ballpark, that's what you'd need to have to budget for. Okay. Some students can do it for a lot less. Others not so. Others maybe cost a bit more. Depends on their circumstances. Tasha, airport transportation. Okay, so you came back to me. We only pick you up the first time you arrive, okay? So if you go back home at Christmas and come back in after Christmas, you'll have to find your own way back to Carlow. There is a bus service directly from the airport and it's very cheap. I think it's only €6 or something like that from Dublin Airport down to Carlow. So it's quite easy to get there. But the very first time you arrive, you'll have big suitcases, stuff like that. You might be a bit nervous, a bit worried. We'll be there to pick you up the first time. Okay. Prasmi asks a question about the deposit. So the way it works with Canadian students is because you don't require a visa, we allow you to pay €1,000 deposit. Okay. Um, this allows you to hold your place. Okay. So after that, you get issued with a formal offer letter, and the next step will be booking your airplane ticket and also starting the process of looking for accommodation. Okay. The remainder of the balance of what is owed, it depends on your circumstances. If you're getting OSAP funding, that funding is generally drawn down in September and drawn down in January. I'll help you with that process in terms of filling out the forms. And when you draw down the money, you can pay us the balance of what's owed for your fees. If you're not entitled to OSAP funding, again, we try and display a level of flexibility on it, but we generally look for full payment before Christmas of all the fees. Okay. Um, if somebody engages with us and explains to us maybe some difficulties that they might be having from a financial perspective, we do try and help out with that. Um, so there's a question in here from Sam Pibbs. He's wondering uh, if if you're from of Irish descent, would you get scholarships? Um, I suppose the answer I'd say to that, Sam, is we are already discounting our price by over €2,000 for Canadian students. So we're actually at the very limits of what we can actually feasibly accept with Canadian students. So, but what I would say is from a comparative perspective, look at the cost of living and look at the cost of college, not just in Australia or USA or even within the UK, but even look at the cost of education within Canada. I fully accepted studying in Ireland and the decision to come study abroad. It's an expense, but relative to other destinations and relative to your own country, it is actually quite good value. And if you can avail of OSAP funding, it does make it a very, very affordable way of upskilling and getting a good qualification. Um, yeah, Jeremy, you have a question there about architectural technology. Will they accept a bachelor degree in architecture in Canada? There's absolutely no reason why they shouldn't accept it, but the advice and guidance I always give students when they ask questions about international recognition for specific programs is to check with the professional body in your home country. Ring up the professional body, explain that you intend to come to Ireland to study architectural technology, and just make sure that they will accept the qualification. I have become aware of another third level institute where they did inform a student that their qualification will be accepted. And when the student arrived back in Canada, and it wasn't Ontario, it was for a different province, the qualification wasn't recognized in that province for the degree that they had. So it's best to err on the side of caution and check with the professional body for architectural technology or civil engineering or whichever area you want to consider working in. But as far as I'm concerned, Jeremy, our architectural technology degree is every bit as recognized as any other country in the world. Okay, and an example I would give you of that is that our graduates can be found working all over the world. So that makes me confident in terms of saying that you can get access to that it is a portable qualification. What I want to run through quickly, that's some of the questions for now. So keep popping them up on the screen and I'll answer them as we go along. IT Carlow since 2012 has and over the course of the over the last two strategic plans, has invested 100 million euros in our college infrastructure. Okay, so what that means for you guys who potentially come into Carlow is that you're getting access to a state-of-the-art modern campus with all the facilities that you need. Okay, you have a first-class IT network infrastructure. Just recently, we've opened brand new a 10 million euro investment in lecture theatres and computer games development halls. We also have started recently building a brand new sports campus, which is located just half a mile down the road from the campus. But the level of investment that we've made hopefully will reassure you about the infrastructure that we have in IT, Carlo. From a medical perspective, we have on-site Monday to Friday, 9 to 5, a full-time nurse. We also have doctors on site throughout the week as well for doctors' clinics if students need to avail of medical facilities. You do, as part of coming to Ireland, have to purchase medical insurance. So you can either extend your medical insurance from your parents' medical insurance to cover you while you study in Ireland, or you can purchase it through our website. The cost of medical insurance is 120 euros. It's not that much money in the grand scheme of things. My medical insurance, for example, costs 3,000 euros per year. So for 120 euros per year, you get access to the medical insurance, and it's mandatory that you purchase that. Okay. We also have counselling facilities on site for those students who may need to avail of it while they're studying with us. We have a chaplaincy on site for those students who may be of a religious disposition, and we also have a chaplain on site as well for spiritual guidance for any students who wish to avail of that. A very important point that I make to all international students is that we have a careers office on site, which is free to use, and I fully encourage people to use it. Okay, and the reason I encourage people to use it is the people who staff our office will help you with preparing CVs, preparing cover letters, interview preparation. They will also let you know which employers in Ireland are hiring graduates. They'll organise companies to come in and speak to students, and they'll also organise trips to graduate fairs. Even if your intention is to go back to Canada once you complete your studies, I still encourage you to engage with the Careers Office to learn more about how you can make yourself employable in the marketplace. So that goes back to one of the original queries that I had earlier on from one of the parents about studying in Ireland. You have to figure out a way to impress upon an employer your ability to work for an organization, and the Careers Office, which is completely free of charge, is how we do that. We also have a students' union, and they're there to make sure that the students' voice is represented within the college. Okay, so they're very active, and they also have a seat on most of the college committees. So the students do have a voice in most of the decisions that are made within the college. We also have 60 clubs and societies, okay? So there's a wide variety of clubs and societies for international students. It's a very good way to immerse yourself into the living in the college. It's a great way to make friends, and it's a great way to indulge your passion, okay? As an international student, you automatically go into the International Cultural Shake-up Society, and they organize trips throughout the year for students to go and visit other parts of the country. And it's also the trips that they organize are heavily subsidized. Okay, so we organize trips over to Galway, which is a beautiful city on the west coast of Ireland. We organize trips to Glendalough, which is a historic Christian site located in the Wicklow Mountains, which is a really beautiful place to go and visit. So there are a whole range of things that students are able to avail of. Okay. Um, so in the PowerPoint slides that I'll share with you tomorrow, I also have a list of all the programs that we currently offer. So my advice to anybody who's listening in on this webinar is that you engage the services of KOM. We don't charge for any applications. KOM don't charge for their service. So send in your transcripts. KOM will send them to us, and it's very easy for us to turn around an application and inform you of whether we'll be able to accept you into a program or not. Okay, so if you get a chance tomorrow, feel free to have a look at the slides. Anybody who wants me to follow up with them, again, you'll see my I'll share my contact details with KOM at the end, and you can email me, and I'm more than happy to follow up on a one-to-one basis. Okay, so let's just see if you have any other questions. Um, so Sheila Conway has a question about how many courses are taken each year and how many electives do you offer. Sheila, that answer will vary dependent on what what it is that what course it is. Some programs offer more electives than others. Okay, so if you gave me an indication, for example, of what your I'm not sure if it's your son or daughter that's coming potentially interested in coming to study with us, but we would be happy to I'd be happy to give you a detailed answer in terms of answering your question. Um, so Julian has a question about work experience and whether he'd need to apply for a visa. Julian, in your case, because you've done an advanced diploma in architectural technology, if you took up the opportunity to go in and do the complete the degree, you're legally entitled to stay in Ireland for 1 year after you complete the program. Once you do that, if you earn above a certain threshold, you can apply for a permanent residency. But if you can find a job in Ireland, personally, I think it's a good opportunity to get work experience under your belt before you go back. So you don't require a visa. Once that year is up, you will either have to return to Canada or you'll have to work with your employer to work on getting permanent residency at that stage. Um, so Sheila, yeah, computer games development. To the best of my knowledge, Sheila, if it's computer games, so Sheila asked a question about what courses are mandatory and what courses are electives. She's interested in computer games development. So because it's computer games, Sheila, I don't think we have electives for that. The course curriculum for your son or daughter, if they have applied, is that they would in year 4 they would have to do their curriculum is set, so to speak. So um, I hope that answers your question. The other thing, Sheila, just to bear in mind is our computer gaming course has 30 places. The the places can get quite tight. So my advice is if your son is quite interested in applying, get his application in quickly so that we can make sure that he's offered a place on the computer gaming course. Okay. He will spend a lot of time in labs. He will spend a lot of time physically working on programs. So it's a very hands-on, practical based program. And you did ask a question about employment earlier on. For computer gaming, it's nearly 100% employment rate for those guys because there's a huge deficit of skilled graduates in the area of computer gaming development. So it's a good area to look at. Um, Jeremy, we don't offer a Masters of Architecture. So Jeremy's asked a question about Masters of Architecture. Um, what I would say to you is, if anybody wants to study at postgraduate level, they must generally hold a level 8 qualification. So if you do the degree program here, Jeremy, you open up the opportunity to go and study your master's qualification at that stage. But the big thing I'd like you to maybe take away from this, Jeremy, is because of the course that you're choosing, you are entitled to an additional scholarship. So your fees for the year will be down to 5750, which is a really good deal for you should you intend to apply and take your offer. So Prasmi has asked a question about when should you arrive. So the date for next year hasn't actually been set by the college yet, Prasmi, but generally it'd be the first or second week of September that we start our course. And before the official term starts, I mentioned earlier on that we do an induction week. Now, um, the induction week is very useful in terms of coming to grips with the facilities. It's a good way of making friends. It's a good way of kind of getting used to the college before you actually arrive. But for Canadian students, because you speak English, because the cultural barrier is quite low for you guys coming over here, um, it's not the end of the world if you don't make the induction week, okay? One other thing I would stress about maybe coming to IT Carlow, and this applies for all the colleges, um, is that you would be you're entitled to discounted airfares from our national airline called Aer Lingus. So I'll ask KOM to share that information with you guys, and that will equally apply to your friends and to your parents if they decide to come and visit you. The great thing about what Aer Lingus are offering is they're offering free date changes, okay? And that's worth up to 150 Canadian dollars. Um, so if you want to avail of that offer and you want to maybe accept your place and book your flights, um, do it through Aer Lingus and then use the flexibility around their airfares and their dates to book your flights. Um, so Jeremy's asking a question now about, can he take his master's in Canada after completing his honours degree in IT Carlow? Yeah, absolutely you can, Jeremy. Once you have your honours degree completed in Ireland, and this comes back to the whole area of internationally recognised qualification, an honours degree in IT Carlow will be accepted by universities in Canada for entry into their postgraduate programs, okay? Katya is asking a question about the scholarship for business and marketing programs. So Katya, at undergraduate level for Canadian students, you're already getting a, a reduction in fees of over €2,000. So most international students who come to Carlow pay €9,750, but we've discounted our fees for you guys down to €7,500. Okay. Now, if you're studying at postgraduate level, our fees are €10,750. Okay, so um, what we discount with the €1,000 scholarship is that brings it down to 9,750. So it's still expensive, but relative to other destinations, as I've mentioned a couple of times already in this webinar, it is quite good value. So let me just have a quick look now again at some of the, I'm just gathering my thoughts through the slides. So the process of making an application, okay, is quite straightforward. And one of the reasons that we work with KOM is because they have a very strong track record of sending students abroad over the past number of years. And they have they have um they have a physical presence in Ontario. So they the documents that we require if you're making an application is we need a copy of your passport, okay? That allows us to verify you, to say you are who you say you are, and it also gives us an indication of any issues around that you might experience with your passport. So it needs to be in date before you book airline tickets and stuff like that. The second thing we need, and this is the most important document that we need from you guys, is your academic transcripts. Okay. Um, these need to be detailed academic transcripts that are sent on to KOM, and we will assess them with a view to making an offer. Okay, so within the Canadian market, IT Carlow has done a number of articulations with partners over there. But a thing that I would stress to everybody on this webinar is, irregardless of where we've done the articulation, um, if you're doing a diploma or an advanced diploma, I'm very confident that in terms of what you're studying, that we're going to be able to give you advanced entry into our programs. Okay. Um, so yeah. So I see a question here from Jordan Wild about what student life like in Carlow. So I suppose Carlow itself has a population of 25,000 people. So for those of you who are in who are living maybe in Toronto, I know not everybody here is in Toronto, but Carlow itself, you're not going to experience traffic. It's quite a beautiful location. It's beside the River Barrow. It's nestled against the Collection Mountains. It's very close to all the main locations in Ireland. So Dublin is an hour away, Cork City is 2 hours away, Limerick is an hour and a half away, Galway is 2 hours away, Belfast is about a 3 hour drive away. So relative to the scale of Ontario as a region, it's quite easy to get around Ireland. Um, the student life in Carlow is quite good, and the reason I'm able to say that is that within the population, we've 25,000 people, but we've 5,000 students in our Carlow campus. So 1 in 5 people in Carlow is a student. And because of that, a lot of our resources within town are built around students and ensuring students have a good experience. So the nightlife and the social aspect of student life, which is something you know, I highly encourage students to get involved in, um, provided they're obviously taking care of their academic studies. But the nightlife and the social life in Carlow is very good. Because it's small class sizes, because it's a relatively small institute, people get to forge closer bonds than they do in bigger institutions. So you get to know your friends well. And the Students' Union and a lot of the clubs and societies organise social events nearly every week. So there's always opportunities there for students. Um, Prasmi has a question around is there accommodation for parents when they come to Ireland? Good question, Prasmi. Basically, there are a number of hotels where students and parents can avail of relatively cheap rates to stay should they want to come to Ireland. The college also has a reduced rate in bed and breakfast beside the college.